Hi guys, welcome to lesson 2. In lesson 2 here, I'm going to be giving you one of my trade secrets. That's right, I'm going to be showing you how to adjust a 2-color brush. So I'm going to be giving you one that you can use as the basis for your brush. It took me months to figure this out. And I hope that you're going to really enjoy making your own 2-color brushes with your very own patterns. Let's get started. So to produce our first brush, I thought it might be kind of fun to use a pattern from a ceramic tile because I think we can make a very quick pattern this way using the radial symmetry tool in the canvas settings. So if you want to just grab something that you see online, so let's say something like this. I hope this has a close-up. So that's got a quite good close-up on it. You want to snap a screenshot of it, so you use the 2 buttons, the one on the side, your power button, and the closest volume button to it, and you just do a quick snap of it. Then you can adjust it here and hit done and save it to your photos. That's the fastest way that I know of. And it's a little bit of a cheat, but we're not going to copy it absolutely exactly. Then we go into Procreate. I've got a 10 by 10 document open here. This document is 300 pixels per inch. You can see the settings here, 300 pixels per inch, 10 by 10. Hit done here, and actually in the canvas settings here, we want to go to the drawing guide and edit the drawing guide. We're going to put symmetry on here, and I think that we want to do a quadrant and hit done. So our 4 parts of this square are going to reflect this way and reflect this way. Now we want to go in and add that photo. So it should be the very last one that you've taken, and you might as well pretty much fill the screen with it so that you've got something really good to go from. I'm going to reduce the opacity on that. I'm going to add a layer and switch to my black. And you can use your weapon of choice. Personally, I think I'm just going to use a Posca marker, set fairly small, and I'm going to, all I really need is this one corner here, whichever corner you're more comfortable working with, and then you basically just start drawing. Remember that you're reflecting here. I'm going to go a little bit bigger. Make sure your layer has the drawing assist on, and then you can see that it's going to draw here. I'm going to go bigger so that you can see it more easily. So I don't want to completely copy it. And you know what? I'm thinking maybe the radial repeat is going to work better because we really only need like this triangle here. So let's switch this up, switch to radial, and that's actually going to be perfect. You can see here, I'm going to make this thicker and darker so that you can actually see it better. And this triangle here, one of these triangles is all that you need to worry about. You know, you can roughly use this for an idea. I think I'm going to even lighten it more. And if you're uncomfortable with just going for it, you might want to start by doing a pencil sketch. Let's do that first, just to make it a little bit easier for all of us to do. And this also allows us to do, you know, some kind of adjustments so that we're not completely copying this other artist here. So you could do something like this, and maybe in this case, I'll do something like this. And the pencil sketch helps us to do things like, you know, fix things like this if we're not happy with them. So I'm thinking this one could be a little bit shorter and this one could be a little bit longer. Do a little bit of erasing so that I don't get confused after. And then I can add this other one here. And then you can decide whether you want to add any more detail to it than that. So you want to think about, you know, do you want to have this as your solid, which I think is what I'm going to do, or do you want to have the solid as the background? These are little things that you can decide before you move on. And, you know, you can definitely add anything else that you think is going to improve the look of your pattern. So for me, that is the guide that I want to use. So I'm going to turn off the other one. That gives me a really good look at it. I'm really happy with that. And I haven't completely copied this other artist. I'm going to reduce the opacity of this one now, add a layer, and set this one on drawing assist. And then now I'll switch to my Posca marker. And what I'm trying to do is, you know, kind of have them looking the same. So they're not perfect, they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. So here, of course, you can still do some correcting in the sense that, you know, you can slim out things or thicken them up. And this is an uber quick method to produce a really cute pattern that you can use to make your brushes. So I can see here that that didn't go perfectly straight, so I can straighten this out as I'm now doing the finished art. You can always stop and hold to get a really good curve. make sure that your shapes are closed. So you want to go up a little bit bigger. I want this one to start, right across from there. So I think I've had too much coffee today. My hands are a little shaky. So this one isn't the same as that one. We could have even started by using a reflected, like just done the single reflection and then taken that and duplicated it. But that's a lot of work. And for what I'm doing here at this point, I just want to show you how to create the pattern so we don't have to perfect it by any means. So I'm going to turn that pencil sketch off just so I can get a better look. And I think that's going to be okay. So I'm going to colorize it or fill the areas of black. All you need here is a black and white. Okay, so okay. I had to just reduce the threshold here to about 65%, and that filled okay. And actually, that's really cute. I like it. That'll be just fine for a pattern. The only other thing we need to do here now, though, is to make sure that we have a full white background. So you can do that. In this case, I think you could just drag the white in and just make sure that it's everywhere. Sometimes just to make sure, you can actually do it on a separate layer and then combine the two layers. But in this case, there's no inner shapes or anything. You could, of course, go back and, take a look at these kind of patterns, and you could see that these did have inner shapes, but I think for all intents and purposes, this pattern is just fine. So now we're ready to actually create the brush with this. So what we're going to do is take one of the brushes. I'm going to give you one of these. So one of these 2-color pattern brushes. As a matter of fact, let's just make your set right now. I'm going to call this one Quilt Class. And these are my 2-color patterns. I know some of you have already purchased the set, but now you're going to know exactly how to do this. So I'm going to grab that tile one, because I think it may have settings that work perfectly for this particular brush. I'm going to drag it into the Quilt Class brush set. I will delete that number there. So you're going to get it looking just like this. So what you want to do is duplicate it, and then you're going to go into the shape here, and that's where you're going to end up adding this as a grain. We're all ready to go here. I'm going to 3-finger swipe down and copy. I'm going to go to that pattern. I'm going to go to grain. I'm going to hit edit, import, and that allows me to hit this paste here and hit done. Ta-da! Just like that. You've got a really cute little pattern. And I actually really like how this motif is different from this motif, if you see that. So it's pretty cool. I think that this is going to work perfectly. Let me just change something here. See this offset jitter? If ever you have this happen where you've created the brush and then you lift and then you go back and your pattern won't match right up, you see that? If you turn the offset jitter off, then it will line up perfectly. So you can see that even though I lift my brush and go back down, it's worked perfectly. At this point, let's not make any changes to these brushes here. So this is the main brush. I've got it on heavy glaze. This is the secondary brush. And with the rendering here, I've got it on uniform glaze. And I think you're going to find most of them are set up like that. We can make experiments later to, just kind of figure out how these settings would affect our brush. We don't need to do that in this lesson though. So I will meet you in the next one. See you there.